Hey-o, what's going on, everybody? There's Steve mouthing my intro over there.
I can't live a week without that. I just can't do it.
I'm happy to provide that completion to your weekly vibe. It's
There
like
you go. That's it.
I'm adding to your life.
Yeah.
And we are adding to all of your lives when it comes to IoT. Those of you who are watching this show, because this is IoT Nuggets. And we are happy to be joined today by Mr. Yasser Khan, CEO of MicroAI. Thanks for joining us, Yasser.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And a little bit of housekeeping, as we always like to do at the beginning. IoT Group, you can see up there in the far corner above Steve's head, there's the website. IoTgroup.com is how you can get a hold of Steve and John Hubler and the rest of the team at IoT Group to talk about your Internet of Things strategy and deployment and how to bring it to market. And you can also check out MicroAI at micro.ai. That's the website. And speaking of MicroAI, we're going to talk today a little bit about AI-enabled predictive maintenance and some things that MicroAI is doing in the IoT space. Very cutting edge technology and deployment here and services. And with that said, I'm going to pass it on to you, Steve, and you and Yasser can talk about it a little bit.
Excellent. Thanks, Doug. And again, Yasser, thank you very much for your time today and joining us. And thank you for your time last week. We were at the Sensors Converge Expo show in San Jose and learned a lot about your company and the opportunities that you have. And so just a wonderful exchange of information. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So Yasser, give us a little intro to yourself and the company and the focus of your organization.
Absolutely. So my name is Yasser Khan. I'm CEO of MicroAI, a global edge AI company, which is focused on understanding machine behavior. So basically, we are in the class of embedded and edge AI, and we are applying IP-based algorithms which we have developed on the embedded microcontroller level or a microprocessor level to actually understand how a machine is performing. And by understanding the machine performance, we can actually then implement various different type of use cases. So one of the use cases is related to predictive maintenance. So once you understand how a machine behaves normally, then you can actually predict its deviation from normal behavior for maintenance and maintenance optimization. The other place where we are applying the technology is to build a security profile. So because we can observe and understand how the machine profile exists versus its interaction with its environment, network, and everything, right? We can actually detect when anomalies are, compromise which is happening in the environment. So we can trigger alerts which can prevent things like ransomware, things like malware or compromise to the infrastructure. The third area where we are actually applying the technology is to actually understand the operational excellence. So when a machine is performing in its industrial, consumer, commercial environment, right, it does interact with humans, it interacts with other machines in the environment, and then optimizing that is a core essential element of what we are offering. So MicroAI basically is building IP-based technology which can help make the next generation machine smarter. That's what we do.
So when you're dealing with, when you're speaking to customers or prospects, what is the uniqueness that you bring versus the competitors in the marketplace that are giving you the edge in winning those opportunities?
That's a great question. So our unique value is that we are able to run, train, and inference all on the endpoint. So you're talking about being able to train on a microcontroller level environment, which is something that is unique in the marketplace at the moment, right? So we don't need the data to leave the endpoint or the edge. And because of that, of course, there are all these elements of data security, privacy concerns which come in. There is aspect of cost of data, cost of cloud, cost of connectivity, which we can minimize. So think about aspects where, let's say you want to train an endpoint to understand your voice, right? We can actually make that happen right on the microcontroller itself, without that voice signature being ever left out to get trained in the cloud or understood or whatever, right? So those are the kind of use cases we can implement right on the endpoint, which makes it a lot better and easier for the use cases being implemented.
Yeah, I think when John and I first heard about you and met with your team, that was what we were just shocked about, that you were able to do that on the microcontroller in a way with a small amount of data, unique beyond belief as far as what we've been able to see. But obviously this comes with its challenges. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you're having to handle today, not only with the company and the product roadmap, but with customers?
Yep. So it's an emerging space, right? So when you look at any Gartner hype, right, this is on the top of the hype cycle. So there's a lot of education. There's a lot of conversation we need to have with customers and partners to explain the value and how that value transcends into the next generation of implementation. So these days, nobody who's making a machine or a device would make something which is not connected and not smart, right? That's an expected behavior if you want to compete in the marketplace, right? And most of these companies land up spending a lot of their time, and money putting together infrastructure. Think about it like, if I'm a garage door opening company and I'm making a new garage door opener, I mean, I've never thought about, having a connectivity or a cloud service or having sensorization and engineers for that, right? So think about it. You have to hire cloud engineers, you have to hire connectivity engineers, you have to hire firmware engineers, you have to be able to have data science who can build the AI into it. What we are trying to do with our offering is reduce that cycle and make it super, super fast and super cheap for people to adapt this technology with the right hardware architecture. So we're working with semiconductor companies to create a hardware architecture which accelerates the whole life cycle of building a smart machine. So if you can reduce the cost and time for that, that's a big value for the ecosystem itself.
And is the model license subscription model? What's the model, go-to-market model for pricing?
Yeah, it's a mixture of it. So there is a license model based on the volume you're deploying on the endpoint, but we're also offering a SaaS model where you can get the whole end-to-end, including cloud and connectivity, all bundled together into a single price, which is pay as you go, depending on the transactions you're running from the endpoint. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yasser, thank you so much for your time today. This was great. IoT Nuggets is exactly what just happened. 5 minutes, quick information, great information for the public to see, and all the eyes around IoT that see IoT Nuggets. So thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you for having me, Steve and Doug.
No worries. All right, Doug, it's back to you, bud.
Thank you very much, Steve, and thank you, Yasser. I think what you folks are doing is really exciting. I think it's fun to be, even though it's a challenge to try to evangelize being on the bleeding edge of technology. It's also very cool to be able to explain people what you can do and how when somebody makes something new, they can make it connected and be in the cloud, and that you're helping facilitate that. I love the story, and I love what you folks are doing. It's very, very interesting stuff for me as a relative layman. And I think everybody will get a lot out of that. And so we appreciate you joining. And everybody watching out there, we appreciate your time and being a part of IoT Nuggets Nation, so to speak. Make sure you go to bhiotgroup.com and try to connect with Steve and John and the team there if you have a deployment that you need help with to go to market. And make sure you join us on LinkedIn as well as YouTube to see all the rest of the nuggets. And if you own a company or you're a subject matter expert in IoT in the space, let us know so we can schedule you to be on the show. Thank you once again. And gentlemen, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Appreciate it.